First of all, I'd like to talk about what we mean by RegTech. What do we mean by reg? Now, we've been heard so far just talking about regulation, but regulation has unintended consequences. It changes market structure. And on top of that, we have new players in the market, whether it's Atom Bank or whether it's new players of hedge funds or whatever. And on top of that, we have the new item, probably highest on most people's agendas, which is IT security. And what does that mean? I don't know whether any of you have seen the news today. We've all been hit with a new ransomware attack. It's been very, very successful, if you'd like to call it that, or very, very destructive, as I'd like to call it. And a number of household names are currently out of action because of it, including DLA Piper, which is an interesting name. So all of this comes together, and as much as we think that regulation is driving change in structure and what we have to deal with. So one of the things that we're talking about tonight is data. How do you bring data together? And one of the issues we have is reporting, quite rightly so. And the problem is that regulators globally want more transparency and therefore more data and more consolidated data. And they want it in this form or that form. And you're talking about data all the time from the first time a customer talks to you. Do you know that customer? Can you deal with that customer? Have you given him the right paperwork to deal with that product at that time? So it's actually about, did you get him to sign the best execution policy that allows you to trade derivatives? Or did you actually only get him to sign the piece of paper that said he can trade equities? And if you start doing that over the phone, then you need to record that mobile phone call or that phone call going onto your desk and make sure it links all the way through the pre-trade, the advice, the execution, to know why did you do that trade on that particular way, through to how did you settle it, was the settlement done in a cost-effective and timely manner, because all of that adds up to best execution. And the customer can go and say, actually, prove best execution. So the burden of proof, unlike in our criminal justice case, which says you are innocent until proven guilty, in a bank's case, you are guilty until you can prove you're innocent. That gives a completely different flavor on having to have the correct data available in the right place at the right time all the time. So let's go back a few years and let's talk about some products that the banks used to sell. When they used to buy a loan, they used to sell you PPI. I bet they didn't think they needed to store the data associated as to why they sold you PPI. So when these firms phone you up and say, I can get you some money for your PPI that you got sold, and you go to the bank and say, you included PPI, all they do is get their checkbook out. Because they don't have the data in order to be able to say, no, you knew what you bought, I told you what you bought, here's a record of all the conversations, you signed up for it, you were a knowing customer.